Hi everyone, welcome to the Unlocking UX UI Design Mastery event by UX Academy. Welcome. Um, I see people are joining. Greetings. We're live on YouTube. We're on Instagram and Facebook. So I know you're all dialing in from different places and different parts of the world. So welcome. We'll kick off soon. And I'll go through an agenda in terms of what we'll cover today, and then obviously I'll introduce the main guest for the show, or for the webinar, Natalia. So just hold on and buckle yourselves in. I'm sure you're going to find it very useful and a lot of information about UX UI design will be covered today. But if you're live and you're waiting and you're here with us, then tell us where you're dialing in from. We'd love to hear from you guys. Oh. I see a few people from Canada, the UK, Arizona, in the US, a couple of other people from the States as well. Yeah, if you're live, share where you're from. So yeah, let's kick off. 3 minutes past. So welcome everyone. Firstly, today's agenda. So first, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of UX Academy and our mission. And then I'm going to hand it over to Natalia. She's going to talk a little bit about essentials of UX UI design, some core user experiences. She'll also talk about some UX design fundamentals, building a portfolio, and then I'll cover a summary of UX Academy and also mention a special offer that we have until the end of this year. And then you will have an opportunity to ask questions to myself and Natalia about anything around UX, UI, and about UX Academy and the course. So who is UX Academy? We're a London-based training company. We've been around for over 6 years. The company started with a mission to provide affordable UX design courses, which are focused on practical work, so working with companies, building a portfolio. Whilst we cover the theory, the main goal is to give students real life work experience, and we partner with companies to do that during our courses. All our teaching is live online. It's not pre-recorded. You'll get a course certificate, which is certified. You will also receive UX design mentorship with UX design experts during your training, where you can ask questions for your project, but also about your career. And we offer kind of flexible payment terms as well. As I mentioned, our courses are live. We have run thousands of sessions, and we run in small groups. So generally there are between 6 and 9 students in every class. So you'll have a very kind of intimate environment where you'll have lots of time to spend asking your teacher questions and really learning in a very thorough and consistent way. Because we've been around for so long, we've trained a lot of different organizations, both in-house, but also through the classroom. And so here are some of the brands, some well-known brands like Microsoft and Amazon and Vodafone and BT. We are UK-based, so some of the brands are more UK-focused, but most of them, at least most of them on this slide, intentionally are more international. Sometimes people ask about the tools that we cover. And in this case, you'll be using Slack to communicate with your teacher and with the project and the company. We'll use Figma, Zoom for sessions, and Google Drive to share slides, so you'll get access to all the slides. And the sessions are recorded as well. So just in case you can't attend a session, you'll be able to replay it later on. The way it works is we have 8 classes, 1 class a week, but you also get mentorship between those classes. So let's say your class is on a Tuesday, you might organize mentorship to be on a Thursday, and you'll have that mentorship weekly to help you apply the knowledge that you've learned during the class to your project, because you'll be working on a real project. And the focus of this course is that you develop your UX, UI skills in a practical way. Also to develop a portfolio, which you can then use for your career and to further develop your career. We have 2 course trainers for this course. Both Natalia and Jonathan have extensive amount of experience in UX, UI design, leading product design teams, working for international organizations. I think both have at least 8 years of experience. So very, very knowledgeable, very diverse backgrounds in terms of companies work for and skill set. So you'll definitely learn a lot from both of them. And obviously today, Natalia is going to present a little bit more to you. So thank you for listening to my session. Now we're going to pass it over to Natalia. Hello, Natalia, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Navi. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to share my experience in user experience and give some overview, and I'm more than happy to answer all the questions in the end of the presentation, because I'm very passionate about user experience. It's my life last 15 years, even a little bit more. So I work in user experience and user interface, and I would even say I am product designer. So I care about the visuals, I care about the experience, and also I care about business. So I'm like this bridge in between. And in my more than 15 years of experience in this industry, I have an opportunity to work for different countries and for different size and type of the companies that happy to share and touch a little bit. So it's from startups that just starting and launching some ideas to the big 4 like KPMG UK. And also, if you are interested in a little bit about my journey, if you have any question, because I have opportunity to work around the world and in London and for United States. Currently, I'm in Latin America and remotely working for some project in Saudi Arabia that is very challenging. And I think that's what make actually my job very excited for me, because I have an opportunity to work for whole world and learn about the experience, behaviors, people, and how people think in Europe, in America, in North and South America, and also even in some country like Arabic countries where people read from right to left and left to right. So it's totally different experience how people behave with the applications, and in general, how is their digital experience. So I would like to start with the definition, of course, right? Because today we try to understand what is user experience. And this person on the image is Don Norman. Remember this face if you are curious about user experience, because he is a father of the definition of user experience. So Don Norman, until today, he's publishing books, articles, he gives some talks. So I highly recommend you to follow. He has a platform Norman Nielsen Group. So it's nngroup.com. So if you are interested in user experience, I highly recommend you take a look. It's very nice articles and also short videos, like just 3-5 minutes on YouTube. It's a great channel that very simple explain complex things and also give you all the knowledge that you need, and step by step you can just with the short videos and articles bring the knowledge, even if you are not planning to change your career or build your career as a UX designer and you just want to understand better. Maybe you are now working as a manager or maybe like a team lead and you would like to understand better what actually designers are doing and like speaking the same language. That also can be very useful for you. So how Don Norman described the user experience? User experience is how a person feels about interacting with product. So when we speak about feeling, right? So we speak about satisfaction, emotional connection, how it's enjoyable for us. But what is important in user experience, and what I would say a crucial component of user experience is actually usability, that we usually don't mention, and we say, okay, user experience is how fun to use the product, right? But it's not just about how fun, it's about how easy to use. And when we speak about user experience, I would divide it in usability and user experience. So when we speak about usability, we speak about how easy to use, and user experience, how enjoyable to use the product. And when we put usability and user experience together, we have the best product that everybody want to use, right? And we start to have a loyal users that start to talk about our product, suggest our product, bring the friends to our product, and probably you already notice some product that you use a lot in your cell phone. Some of them maybe you so engaged with and you are happy to bring your friends and you start to talk about like I don't know, now I'm running and I discover there are lots of running application. I discover Adidas running. I really enjoy interface. I really enjoy how that works, how while I'm running, I don't look my cell phone, but every mile it's update my speed, so I am aware what's going on, so I don't need each time check my watch. So I start to be really engaged with that product, and I'm like, oh, I love this application. I start to talk about this application to my friends who's also running. So I say, look at this, maybe you would like to change the app and that's better, and give some points. So that's the moment when you start to enjoy something. So you like how does it work, you like how does it feel, and also it's easy to use. So when we speak about easy to use, we mean something that you can use without any additional guidelines, any additional navigation. Somebody has to teach you. No, it's easy. You open and you start to understand how to use it immediately. So when we speak about user experience, we talk about user experience and usability. So to make a good user experience, you need to have a knowledge in usability. So that's the primary what you're learning to have a nice product. And I know that a lot of people speak about user experience, and probably last 10 years, everybody talk about user experience, how is it important, and probably first what pop up in your head when you speak about user experience, digital design, is some application, right? So that can be application like social media, but also it can be control application, like for example, application for the car, right? So you have updates about the car. But what is the new generation, right? Because we are going to the next generation of the user experience. We have now artificial intelligence, right? So it's every day more and more information around us, but also technology advance, right? And not only user experience required for website and mobile application, because now we are going to the virtual reality, right? And probably you have heard most of the platforms, even Facebook, right? let's say Meta. It's not just a Facebook, it's a global company, Meta. They are working on the glass that it's new generation of the glasses that we are really expecting will work. And they really looks like a glasses more or less now. Maybe you have tried in Apple Store, or maybe you even bought Vision Pro, that it's a headset, so you need to use it as an additional device. But how does it work? What is the experience? If you have access, I would highly recommend you book a slot in Apple Store and try how is the experience. It's really interesting. It's really amazing. But somebody has to design that, right? And when you have additional reality, and you have to have the experience how actually it works, right? Somebody have to design how you will work, what gestures, right? So how everything will be aligned on the screen. And for that, we need user experience, right? And as I mentioned, how easy to use, it's about usability. So experience, just how it's enjoyable, is not enough, right? Because it should be easy, because it's now 3D dimension. It's not just you and your screen, you're in your cell phone. It's actually space around you, right? And the idea is go to the space and start to work in a way that respond to you with your gestures, right? So it's a totally new field in user experience. But for example, you have probably experience with Google Map, and I think it's the best. Personally, for me, like, yeah, we have a lot of idea how we use augmented reality, but for me, that's a very helpful and very useful. And I love how implemented that technology, because I lost all my time, all the time in the streets, especially if it's a new city or new country. Just on Monday, back from design conference, I was in New York. It's a huge city, and without that tool, I probably would die, cry in the corner, because I need to understand how to navigate, go around the city. I'm not so good with maps, so really augmented reality in this case helped me a lot. So I took my cell phone, I opened Google Map, and I start to scan the street around. So through the cam, it's understand where I am, and with arrows, very easy navigate me where I have to go. And that's another user experience, right? So it's also your interaction of your device, current what you have, and the street, right? Or the space around you. And for that, you need also design and think, what is the experience? How a person feels about that? How you understand how navigate through this street using your device? How actually dangerous it is? Because if you have experience, you probably notice that there is a special notification, be careful, road, cars, etc. So we have to think about all that. And again, it's something new. And every day we see more and more augmented reality, and we have to design the user experience for that. More and more we have devices in our home, right? And probably in a time of 2020, 2021, when we were in a pandemic time, right? So a lot of people start to care about their health from home perspective, right? And probably you remember Peloton pop-up in this case was one of the most promoted probably product. And we combine, right? We combine the tool that everybody knows, like a bicycle, and the digital world. So you have your data, you have engaged course, right? So you can ride with the trainer. If you have experience with a Peloton, you probably know that you can gather in with other people and schedule a time. So you're really in a class with some people. And again, somebody has to design this experience, right? And how to make it easy and engaged for people, because technically you are sitting in your room, you're alone in a bicycle, but you have to somehow engaged. And because I work in product design, UX, UI design, I have more and more requests from clients, make the platform, make the tool enjoyable through the gamification, right? So when we speak about gamification, it's not just about game, like how it sounds, right? But when we speak about gamification, it's mean like how to make it enjoyable while you are waiting, or while you are doing something, or while you are using your platform. If you have experience with Uber or delivery company, you probably notice that moment when you're really looking, where is your car, where is your delivery, where is your Uber, right? In where you have to wait, in what corner, and you see how advanced the car on the map. And these small details engage people, right? And you not just waiting, you are not stressed, you know where is the car, you know the time you are waiting, and it's easy to use, and also it's enjoyable to use, right? So it's make everything to make product feels designed especially for you. We call it personalized because it's your Uber or your delivery. And also it's kind of engagement, how to make it fun and also easy to use. And of course, smart home, right? So again, it's a mix of real world and environment in around us, and also how you can control it remotely. And it's make your life easier, so you don't need to be worried if you turn off the lights at home, or if it's a winter like now, it's a cold and you would like heat your home before you arrive. So through the application you can go and raise up the temperature, so you know you will back home in 40 minutes and it will be warm, cozy home, and you don't need to struggle and wait when your home will warm again after you back to home after the job. So as you see, you can see products from one perspective. It can be like, for example, a mobile application, website. It's still on the page. We still need to improve. We need to have a better experience. We have an iPhone 16. We have a new Android phone. So our technology improving speed, so we make easier to use and navigate. But also we need the user experience for new technology that implementing now in our life, even if you don't use at this moment virtual reality or augmented reality, with the time you will see it more and more around you, and that's how that will work. So next step probably for Peloton will be not just to see the screen, actually use the headset or glasses, and you will feel you are between people. So it's where it's going. Some products fail, and that's totally fine, because while we are doing user experience, we are learning. So there is no someone who knows everything. And when I started my career, nobody talked about augmented reality. It was impossible because the internet speed, devices itself, battery life was not enough. And that was impossible just to, you could dream, but it was impossible. Nowadays, it's okay. We just use it and it starts to be normal. So you need to learn every day something. That's actually what I love a lot about my job, because every day happening something new. And what I did 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago is not what I'm doing today. Even new technology like artificial intelligence make our industry very different. We start to work another way. We start to think how we can rethink our process and how we will design and how user experience actually will look like. Because now, you know, just to type a prompt can give you some design, right? And I know some people struggling and imagine that, oh my God, now we don't need designers anymore. But I have to say to you, no, actually, because when you're working with AI, you can create something, you can build something, but actually, in the end, you as a human decide what is good, what is bad, what will work, what doesn't work for your audience, and only you can take a decision based on your knowledge. Because a machine aggregate the information, that's true, give you some ideas, but still you are taking the final decision, what is the good idea, and only your design eye and your knowledge about user experience, about humans, can let you take a decision if it's some good solution or not. So if we speak about the user experience design, I would like to talk about how does it work, because to talk about like how to implement that is cool and what you can use, but how actually does it work? So when we speak about user experience, we speak about, of course, user and artifacts, right? So as I mentioned, artifacts can be application, website, augmented reality, virtual reality, any other artifact. So everything what we are experiencing as a tool, that's our artifact. And this interaction between user, that's you, me, and everybody who use, it can be kid, it can be adult person, it can be older person, somebody with no experience in digital. That's also possible until today, because some country, they are just now advancing from economical point of view, and some countries in India, for example, there are people, they are 30, 40 years, but just now they have access to the technology, to the free Wi-Fi, to the internet itself. So, and for them, it's totally new experience. So we have to care about the users from different point of view, who is our user, who is our target group, and the artifact itself. So this interaction, it's a user experience, and this interaction includes usability and experience itself. So UX designers help make technology easy to understand and easy to use, but also enjoyable, right? So what we do and what is our day-to-day task? First of all, we understand users, right? So what do we need to understand is who is in front of us, because in a big picture, we are all users. But when you go deep dive, you understand that actually your product can be targeted for special age, gender, or location. As I mentioned, now I am working on project for Saudi Arabia, and totally new world for me, because it's other mindset, and they need to understand how people think, how they behave with technology, how they use their cell phone, what kind of speed of internet in their area, and do they have access to the data fast. So it's a lot of information that I need to know before I start to design something for people. And then I start to design itself. But it's not just I start to create the buttons, the icons, if we speak about the interface. I start to think about the wireframes. So wireframe, it's a step before you actually start to design. It's some mock-up, like a skeleton. What should be in the particular page or screen, or if it's augmented reality or virtual reality, what user will see in front, right? What exactly should be there? What kind of call to actions should be on this page? It should be images, or it should be text, or should be video. So what information should be there? And that's very interesting moment, because in this process, you are working not alone. You also work with marketing department, with content department. So a lot of roles around the user experience that help and support users. So what users should know about our product, or what users should see in every step of our product. And then you are doing some interesting process that we call prototyping. So when you are gathering all the information and create your visuals. So you have that as a wireframe. So it's a grayscale, usually black and white, or maybe even advanced level when you start to add the colors. You connect every points of that product. So it can be mobile application. And then you are going to test. So your prototype, it's similar like in a real world prototype when somebody designed the chair, right? So before you send the chair to the production, you test it. How good this chair? Does it work, this chair? So something similar we are doing in the digital world. So we fake it before we make it. So we can use special tools. Today we'll talk about this tool called Figma. And when we use this tool, we connect the dots in between, and users start to feel and experience like a real product. So you can go deep dive in prototyping, become an expert in prototyping, and actually make everything feels like a real product, but it will be before even programming. And when you have a prototype, you test it, right? Same as I mentioned, as a chair, you test the same. You test every single product that you are going to launch. So you test not just the big picture of the product, you start to test every single feature. There are lots of different ways how to test, and that's something also interesting, because user testing, usability, it's a big part of our job. And I know some designers, they even focusing on usability and usability testing, like their main purpose, right? So that's main purpose of their goal, like a job. So they are gathering information about the product. If it's already exists, make some usability testing, then they improve it, and then back to test again. Or if it's something from scratch, it's even more interesting, because you have to go from the beginning, understand the user, create, and then test. And of course, we deliver the design, right? When we speak about design, we can speak about big picture, because it's not just about the buttons and screens, design, it's also experience. So we have to think how user will go from screen to screen. If it's a virtual reality, how user will navigate and move. If we speak about delivery, it also should include the behavior design. So if it's a gesture design, or if it's a scroll, or if it's some gestures, if it's some movements on the screen, if we speak about cell phone, so it's something pop up, or it will be slider, or it's something that works better for touch screen. So you always think about how that will work in the end when user take that in the hands. And how we make it. So we use one of the most famous framework, and probably you have heard that framework. It's design thinking. So design thinking, it's a design framework that include 5 steps, right? So as I just explained, first step is empathize. Then you define the problem, what you want to solve, because we don't design just to design. We always try to solve or bring something new to the world. Then you ideate, prototype, and test. But design thinking is not a linear process, and you can go and back from step to step. That's a very important part for design thinking, because you can iterate your ideas, you can prototype, you can test, and you can understand what works well, what doesn't work well, and what you really need to implement. So that's a very powerful framework that help us deliver something meaningful for people, for users, for customers. And we know that user really will enjoy, and that will simplify their life. So it's an example I would like to show to you this one. Probably you have the remote control that I have one here with me. And I'm sure at least once in your life you struggle and think like, what does mean these all buttons? Why they are green, blue, and yellow? What they do? Why these numbers means? What these dots means? And every day our devices around us easier and easier to use. And on the right side, you see it's from Apple TV, some nice remote control that remove everything. Not always is possible and not always it works, but in some cases, you can think about the product that will simplify the life of people, right? And maybe you need just going back, and that would be enough, right? So in case of the remote control, probably you need the channels, and you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you need this solution. If you speak about streaming platform, you highly probably don't need it anymore, and you just control because you go from the list of the films. So it's totally different experience. And as soon as you start to use something that it's a little bit more enjoyable and easy to use, your life change. So that's our goal as a user experience designers. So what is common skills for user experience designers? So from my experience, and as I mentioned, I work in a whole range of companies from startup to the big 4, I can split skills in 2 groups. So we have a soft skills and we have the hard skills. So when we talk about soft skills, we speak about the skills that we need for our workplace. And when we speak about hard skills, it's about your technical skills. And skills, technical, it's research methods, it's interaction design, behavior design, wireframing, prototyping, design tools, maybe even a little bit of coding if you would like to go to the further in prototyping. But what about soft skills? And quite often we don't think about that too much, but majority of the company focus on soft skills a lot, because it's how you behave with others in your work space and how other will feel comfortable to work with you. And for that, you need be collaborative. You need to be a good team player. But also for us as a UX designer, it's very important soft skills, because we have to empathize to our users, right? So what does it mean, empathize? It's a first step in framework design thinking, when you try to understand the pain of the people you are designing for. What is their problem? It can be physical products or digital product, but where people struggling, Like, for example, in airport, maybe you have noticed already we have a new experience when you don't need anymore collaborate with assistant and you do all the process by yourself to send your luggage, right? So you just enter the information, you take the sticker, you put over your luggage and done. So all that is how you can find that. You start to talk to people, you start to understand what is their problem, where they are struggling, what they would be happy to make it themselves, how easy to make it, and so on, so on. So you're empathizing with the customers, and that's your skill that you can apply as a good team worker, right? But also as a UX designer. And what is main principle when you're presenting your job, because in user experience you don't have just one right decision, you have always more than one idea how you can implement something or how you can solve the problem in interface. What color should be button, what size of the button, what font to use. You have to have some idea behind, you have to have arguments, and you have to be a good storyteller. You need to give a story how you took this decision. So you have to know how to articulate your decision. And when you show something on the screen, it's not just that's the result, take it and make it, right? You have to give the story why you took this decision, why that will be good for business, why it's good for designers, and where is from this idea. So you give the story, and when you can explain your story, highly probably your stakeholders, everyone who is interested in this project, everyone who work with you will catch your idea and will catch your concept and why you took this decision, and you will have support. And the tool, right? So what is the main tool we use when we work in user experience design and actually user interface design? It's Figma. There are more tools on the market, and you can use some tools like, for example, Sketch. Maybe you have heard about Adobe XD, that unfortunately not anymore updating, but maybe some of you already try maybe Photoshop, but the best tool to work is Figma. So Figma now is the most advanced for prototyping and for wireframing and user interface design. Figma also help work with developers. So nowadays we call it dev mode. So it's help us transfer our design job to the developers. So we have one tool that align everything. And when I start my design career, it was quite complex because we need to send our design files. Not always developers were familiar with the design tools. It was quite complex, align the elements in between, because sometimes you copy paste, you lose the color, you lose the size of the font, button, whatever. Nowadays you organize and you create your design system that make things work easier, and you can reuse components from design system again. You align everything in your product, because if you design mobile application like social media, let's take any social media, it will be hundreds of screens that you need to design, and it's very easy to make it messy. So Figma help us organize the elements, create the components, reuse these components, and also it's help for big teams. If you work in a team where you have more than one designer, it's also can become very quickly messy. So you can work with 1, 2, 3, and even 100 designers. So just imagine the size of the Google design team, how many products they have in Google, right? And all of them align between each other. Why? Because they have a right design system with the right guidelines and right rules how to use buttons, titles, secondary text, primary text, secondary button, primary button, links. So when you open different applications, like for example, Gmail, Google Docs, slides, you feel that it's a one product. They have all different colors, but still have same style and same behavior and user experience that make this product usable, but also under one umbrella of Google. And I would like to highlight a little bit about the roles, because when we speak about user experience design, we always think about one career, but actually it's not true. So I mentioned already that I'm long time in this industry, and I have to say to you, I have been just UX designer and just user researcher, and sometimes I play a role just like a visual designer or like user interface designer, or currently my role is a product designer. So I play many roles in the project. So I cover user research, user interface, and user UX design. So as you see, you can find yourself in a field, what is more interesting for you, but user experience is very fundamental knowledge. So if you know well how works user experience, how engage users, how to make the product easier, your user interface design also will be much better, because you know how to easy use product. It's mean how elements should be on the screen, what is the size of the elements that will help you make a better user interface design. But also you can see here content designer, because now content is a king, right? So we go to the social media not because it's a easy to use platform, or because we want to find the content, right, from our friends and people we are following. So how content should be organized on the platform. Also, if you generate the content as a platform, so maybe you some product have like for example insurance company, right, then nobody publish anything except they claim something. So there should be clear content. What do you do, how you do it, how to claim if you have some insurance case. So it's a content, how easy to make it. And again, it's a quite tough topic, right, insurance, but we have to think about how to make it easy to use and enjoyable, so a person can have a little bit of fun with our application and don't struggle, because it's a quite topic, like quite like a plain topic as an insurance, but still can be engaged. And also, if you look in the right side, you can see front end developer. So I would like to chat, like just touch what does it mean front end developer. But we are working and on user interface, right? As a UX, UI designer, sometimes it's same person, sometimes it's two roles separate, depend how your company organize the job. You work with developers, so you pass your job to the developer, and developer make the magic that is going to life. So quite often you have to work with front-end developer, especially if you are focusing on user interface design, and front-end developer make this interface live, especially if you work on details like animation, if you work on some small details like how behave user when open application, splash page, how react the button when user press, and so on, so on, so on. So that small details you talk about, and you show how does it work to front-end developer. So front-end developer can make it for you as exactly how you expect and what you want your application or website or VR, AR look like and work. So behave with the user. And what I would like to highlight also today, it's a type of UX design jobs, because I already mentioned about startups, about big companies, but startups is something small business, just maybe start, develop some unique product, and they would like to have somebody on board, and highly probably they are looking somebody with a lot of skills. So you can make a user experience and user interface, and maybe even you can code a little bit. But big companies, they are likely will invite you to work in the team, and you will be splitted on user research or user experience design. So you will have your specialization. And if you have some specific interest, you will be there in this area. That is quite interesting, because you can deep dive in your knowledge. And of course, you have an option to be self-employed, that we call freelance, or maybe consultancy, right? But on your own. That's another option, because here client hired you, you work from home or whatever you want, right? You pay your taxes, you pay your insurance, so health care insurance. You have a lot of challenging, but you are boss of yourself. And that's also interesting path if you would like to try yourself to work on your own, because freelance journey is quite interesting. I have some experience on that. And I have to say to you, it's a challenging, but it's very interesting because you learn and you managing a lot of things on your own, and you become more experienced designer just because you have a big picture. You know how organize budget, how organize time, you know how cost the time and the budget. You talk to the clients directly, so you're really managing a lot of roles, and you become much better as a designer because you know not just what is in front but also what is behind, like a product and business. And one of the most common questions in our sessions, it's about the salary. And I would like to highlight that there is different tools, platforms that can help you to find the amount of money you can make. So, for example, Glassdoor is one of the company that collect the information about different companies. And if you try glassdoor.co.uk, you will find the right position you would like a junior UX designer or usability expert. Then you pick the location, and that will help you to see the range of money you can make. So that's just a range. It's not a promise. It's what is approximately in that area. This level of experience will can ask when you are applying for the job. So if it's your first job, of course, you will probably not have much opportunity to negotiate. But if you already start to have some experience, gaining some portfolio, probably you can start to negotiate, but still understand the borders where is the range of the salary you can make. So that's what I would like to share with you. Probably I have much more to talk about, but we are very limited on time. And I'm happy if you have any question to answer them in the end of the session. And I back to Navid.
Thank you, Natalia. Thanks for that. Very interesting, very exciting. I hope you all learned a lot from this session. But before we leave you, as I mentioned, there will be an opportunity for you to ask Natalia your questions. And just before we do that, I will answer a few more, I'll go through a few more facts about UX Academy. So a little bit about the journey. So you will be obviously doing classes. As we mentioned, it's a practical course, so there will be fun work, as we call it, where you'll work on projects and activities. And then there'll also be mentorship during those weeks. The course is split into 8 weeks. Jonathan does the first 4 weeks, covering kind of some of the core concepts like UX design, discovery, research, ideation, how to do mapping and wireframing. And then Natalia will take over from week 5, covering areas like prototyping, user testing, design iteration. This is a very, very intense 8 weeks. There's a lot to learn. You'll also be working on a project. You will have mentorship as well. So some people sometimes ask, I've already done some kind of like recorded courses like Google course or learned a little bit on YouTube. We highly recommend that you spent some time building up some basic UX knowledge, and that will only make this training even more valuable for you because you'll already have some of the basics. We're gonna be cramming a lot of information in, and obviously because these lectures are live, we'll be tailoring them for the individuals based on the knowledge you have and what you're trying to get out of it. A little bit about payment plans. There's 2 ways to sign up. One is to pay a deposit, which is £199. And then we agree how you pay the rest of it. You don't have to pay the rest until the course starts. The other option is we partner with a payment provider called StepX, where they offer 6 to 12 months of payments. So that means there's no deposit. You simply get approved via StepX, and then you pay StepX directly. There is no interest on this, so you're only paying the full price of the course. and then you will be able to pay that over installment. So no interest charge, no additional fees. All fees are covered by UX Academy within the course price. So you have really a great option here to start with a deposit or pay over a 12-month period. As we've already mentioned, the course is certified with a CPD certification. There are internationally recognized certification company. You'll see them all over the place, especially in the UK. So they're well established for a very, very long time. Yeah, a lot of companies are working with CPD because it's internationally recognized. You get to work on real client projects. Here is just a snapshot. There's a team working here, presenting a brief and working with the trainer. The company we're working with Seed Legals. So they provide this kind of legal documentation. And on the right, you'll see they were doing some ideation and brainstorming in terms of how to improve the user interface. Finally, we have a special end-of-year offer. So you can get 20% off. The course price is 1,500, so that gives you a significant discount from so 300 off. Just trying to work that out. Hopefully I got it correct. So you get 300 off, 20% off. This offer expires on the 31st of December. So you need to use the code SP20 if you're going to pay the deposit. And you can do that on our shop. We don't advertise our shop so much on our website, which we should do. But we do have a shop link. You won't be able to click on this presentation, but Charles, if you can add the link into the session, you'll be able to copy and paste the link that Charles will share, and then you'll be able to add SP20 into the discount code section of the checkout, and you'll get the discount. So this link will soon follow on the screen. Yeah, now we're ready for our Q&A. So I would like to invite Natalia back into the stage. And we can go. Hello, welcome. So we can go through some questions. So I will read out the question and then we can choose who to answer it. So this looks like a Natalia question, actually. So Renora, Noah, sorry. I thought I'd do a good job with pronouncing that. Apologies. Is asking what would be the good starting point to switch a career to the UX UI field? So over to you, Natalia.
Yeah, so that's a very good question, right? So here we have to also a little bit know the context. So from what industry you are switching. So if you already work kind of IT, probably will be easier. So depends what you are doing. If you are already in IT, maybe you already have some skill sets for that. If you're switching your career from something totally different, probably good start would be usability, right? So what I mentioned. So you start to step by step explore what does it mean a good design from the usability experience, from the user experience, like in how enjoyable the platform, and start to think also about the UI, right? So user interface design, it's about the visuals. So here you learn about typography, about the colors, how they are mix and match, what size of the elements on the touch screen should be, what size of the elements should be for desktop. So you have to have the details, know the details. If you work for virtual reality, augmented reality, you need to know the details, how work 3D, right? How user experience something. You need to have some headsets. If you design for mobile, you need to like mobile to try what you're designing. And where I would like to start, maybe with some initial books that probably I would suggest to read. It's a Steve Krug, Don't Make Me Think. It's something that I always recommend because it's really speak about web usability. It's a crucial and principles of how we behave as a humans with digital products. So that would be good start. just for you to understand. And recently pop up new book, Universal Principles of Design by Irene Peria. I think that's also good, something that I would probably suggest to start to explore and step by step learn a little bit more. And for me personally, work well when I start to try to find opportunities to work as a maybe like a junior designer, or even like just to try to um, join like internship if you have somebody around you who already in this area, maybe for a few months, just to understand it's something for you and see how actually UX designer works. And what is good about user experience UX Academy user experience course is that you have a real project, right? So it's a project where you collaborate with the client, right? So you talk to people who really, it's not a some imaginary project, it's a really ongoing project that already exists, and you need to handle what's going on. So you need to understand how work the business, what you can improve, how you can make it. So your beginning of the UX UI journey is also can be the project that really exists, but it's still with support of UX Academy, like a trainer and the mentor. So you will be available during your making some job, learning from that. I hope you answered the question.
Thank you, Natalia. So Katerina is asking, when user testing, what do you do if you don't have access to users in your target audience? Good question.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to find people in general. I agree. So we need to consider options, right? So there are special platforms that offer you to find your target group. Probably you need to have a budget for that, but you can ask the third-party company find for you the users from your target audience if you don't have access. Also, we have to take a look why we don't have access, right? But if it's a problem because of stakeholders, you will need to convince them. And I have the story when we couldn't convince the stakeholders in the beginning. So we design, we implement, and when we start to launch, it's fail. So the story is so sad that usually it's help, because it really doesn't work in this way. If you don't test it after, you can fail and your business lose money. So that's very clear for the business. But also because now we are in era of AI, right? So now we have more interesting tools that help you mimic the target audience. So based on a lot of data collected around the world, you can have access to the persona like a ChatGPT, but from UX perspective. So maybe you have heard about synthetic people. So I highly recommend you explore that. So already few companies to make it, like Fantasy Interactive. I know for sure they are doing that because I have been present in the presentation of that product. So you put your criteria and AI help generate the user, so you can start to ask the question, have some conversation if you are collecting some data. Of course, it's still in development, but AI can be very helpful. And user testing, if we speak about the product that already launched, if you don't have access to the user for interview, you can try another tools, like, for example, surveys, or you can implement hot maps. So like a hot jar. So you don't have to talk to user, but based on their behaviors on the screen, you can understand how they move, for example, mouse on the screen, where they are clicking. So you have more data. At least in this case, maybe it's not talk to each other, right, and ask direct questions. But if you can send the survey, maybe you will have some less, of course, percentage response, but still you will have maybe 10%, 20% of response that will guide you. Or try some tools that help you see visual what users are doing while they're using your platform.
Okay, the names are getting harder. Apologies. So I don't want to pronounce it your name wrong, so I'm just going to read the question. How can we measure effectiveness of our UX work? Maybe we design something great, but content is irrelevant. So there is no market for the content.
Yeah, so it's a very big topic that would be nice have another few days to discuss. So effectiveness of UX work, it's a very big topic, right? So what like most business, it's numbers, and we have to bring these numbers, right? So we have to show that improvements, what you're doing, what you're designing really work for business, because in the end of the day, we advocate users, but all the product, they have a business behind, right? So we start to implement KPIs, and based on what you need to know, you start to implement different KPIs. Some platforms already exist. At least Google Analytics is a good platform, right? So you can manage a lot of settings to understand what you would like to get. So basic, it will be, of course, you will see how many users, what is conversion, how people like register it to the platform, or how many visitors and how many products bought, or how many people put something in the basket and why they don't buy it, right? So here we need to understand like why product in the basket, but user don't continue, right? So maybe it's some usability issue, etc., etc. So effectiveness, it will be return of investments, right? So here we'll have to measure how much time we invest in that, what is the budget, and what was our return of investment based on our implementation. And here, what I suggest, is speak with your stakeholders, with people who take in decision, what is their criteria, right? So what they want to get, they want to get more subscribes, they want to get more revenue, or they want to have more clicks, they want more shares. So what they want people do on the platform or one particular page. So some platforms in the beginning, maybe phase one, they want people just download application, install and register it. And that would be your KPI that you need to bring and say, look, that's the result, what you want to achieve. You want to achieve this amount, we are here. What would be our next challenge? So before you start, think about and talk about KPI, think about the return of investments, and that's totally fine to talk about that. It's already your business and design skill set, so you need to think about that. And also UX, if you work just on UX point of view, how quickly user achieve what they want. So what does it mean? When we design something, right, we always have a goal. You want to buy the product, you want to book an appointment, you want to maybe buy tickets to the cinema, or you want to whatever, right? So you can upload the picture, upload the videos, and that's also would be probably your goal. And based on that goal, you have to think how you can make it easier and faster. So you can, if you already have a product, you can measure effectiveness of UX, how long it takes, how many steps to complete the goal, like book an appointment. Can we make it easier? So if you're working with insurance, you have a claim process, it's 4 steps. Can we do it in 3 steps? Can we pre-fill the fields? Can we make it faster from the backend perspective? So can user load the information faster? And if you will have a first test and you will say, okay, it's a take 1 minute 30 seconds, then you improve user experience and you say, now it's take, for example, 1 minute 10 seconds, right? So that's one of the measurement that can be. So for example, less clicks, less steps, and less time and effort that user need. So that's another kind of criteria how you can measure effectiveness of your UX work.
Thank you, Natalia. We've run out of time, so we're gonna take the last question from Froetz about the course fee. So yeah, I mentioned it briefly before, but the course price is £1,500. So it's Great British Pound, GBP. But yeah, it's obviously we're a British company. And as I've mentioned, and I'll just go back here, for the people that have attended this webinar, we have a 20% offer. And here is the link for the code if you want to pay the code via the shop. I believe the comment link is also in the comment section in YouTube. If you are confused or you have any further questions that you need answering, then please reach out to us. We have a form on the bottom of our homepage, myuxacademy.com, and you'll have an opportunity at the form to ask any questions, and then someone from the team will get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, feel free to fill in the form on the page. If you want more details about the brochure, we have a brochure which you can download from our homepage, and maybe Charles, you can quickly add that into the comment section. You go to our website, click on our courses, and on the UX UI design course, and then click on view brochure. You'll need to fill in a small form, and then you'll be able to access the brochure straight away, which gives you more details about the course. Yeah, and anything else you want to know. So thank you everyone for dialing in. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you to Charles for managing the back end. Hope everyone has a great day. This session will be recorded and available afterwards, so you'll feel free to watch it. And we look forward to seeing you at the next UX Academy course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao.